Keuroghlian, can you hear me? Morning. Would you mind taking yourself off of mute real quick?
Sure.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good, man. Obviously, I'm gonna put a small pause on the fundamentals, like I said this morning. For a few minutes, I'd like to possibly discuss the buyer side and the seller side. The reason I've chosen you is because you kind of, I feel like you're a statistical geek like me, and then you, I think, more than anybody else, can give me a different point of view, right? Because you're more on the commercial side, because there's confirmation bias when it comes to some of our agents and what they're constantly being fed, not only from their clients, sellers and buyers, but also from different news outlets. I feel like a lot of the noise is getting to them. They're losing the signal in the noise. So I want to kind of briefly go over some of the facts. And by the way, guys, I'm hoping the reason I put all that up in the stories because I'm currently working on a blog as well that's going to address some of the propaganda that a lot of you guys keep having to listen to. It's really funny, Arthur. Yesterday, I'm listening to, every day for maybe 8 to 10 minutes, I listen to the latest news, right? Updates that from this AM station. And it's really funny. It was the money report. And the guy said 20% decrease in housing year over year. Okay, 20% decrease in housing year over year. And for the average person, for the layman, that automatic, and he didn't say anything else. Very irresponsible journalism, by the way, because, and I think that's more clickbait stuff that these guys try to do in order for them to either they're just completely incompetent or it's just clickbait and they want you to look into it, right? But the guy said 20% year over year housing is down. So for you as the average layman, Arthur, what's the first thing that you think about if you hear someone, a journalist who's supposed to be credible?
Value of properties are down 20% year over year.
But what, as a professional, what is the 20% value year over? What is a 20% decrease? Whether it's housing supply or purchases, right? The volume, the sheer volume of it. It could be one or the other. You could be right, I could be wrong, or vice versa. So I don't know. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but it's either housing supply or the volume of purchases, right? Which it doesn't take a genius to know that if you're going to raise rates by 3%, just without a blink of an eye, plus 2.5 years of locking people up in their homes, and the first actual summer where people can actually get some fresh air and travel, right? It doesn't take a genius for you to kind of understand that there's going to be less purchases being made, right? So all the propaganda, all the noise that we keep having to listen to over and over again is kind of weighing not only on our buyers and sellers, our clients, our constituents, but also our agents, right? Because they keep having to hear the same exact thing over and over again. And if you're being told the same thing over and over again by people that you kind of respect, then you're going to kind of believe what they believe, right? So that's why I'm kind of publishing this this article, this blog in these next couple of days, so I can give my take on it. It's not all grim and it's not all bright. There's different sorts. So for the facts that I published yesterday on that one story, would you mind just quickly going through it and then tell me exactly which part of it is unclear to you? So let me just go through it, okay? So existing home sales are down 5.4% between May and June. What does that mean?
Home sales are down 5%.
Does that mean prices are down by 5% between May and June?
No.
No, it means the volume's down 5% between May and June, right? Fact medium price is up to 416,000. That's 13.4% from this time last year. So June 21 to June 22, we've had an increase of 13.4% year over year. Pretty clear, right?
Yes.
Okay. This one is one that I want every single one of you guys to understand, right? The next one. There's 1.26 million unsold homes currently on the market, right? And that's a 3-month supply. Now, between you and me, this is kind of the grim part for us, but it still has the hope that this is not going to go up too high, right? And last 3 months ago, I would say 3 to 4 months ago, the supply in LA, okay, and the supply, let's say this is a US number. In the US, LA was about 5 weeks. US was right around 8-9 weeks, right, of supply, right? That means, what does that mean? That means that if no other home comes on the market in these next 3 months, no other home comes on the market, every single property will be sold in these next 3 months. About 3 months ago in LA, the supply was 5 weeks, and Vegas is about 3 weeks. Today, the supply in LA is right around 11 weeks, and countrywide, it's 3 months. And what I said next is a healthy market is 6 months. That's a healthy market. That's where you and I, as broker agent, we're celebrating every single day. Why are we celebrating? If our supply is 6 months, why are we celebrating every single day?
Well, I mean, the trend is upwards, so that's what essentially.
Not only that, but the thing is, you're saying that you're going to have a stable market, right? You have kind of the same amount of buyers that you do sellers, right? 6 months. As a matter of fact, right now, in order for us to meet demand, we've got to supply the market with 4 million residences. 4 million. In order for us to meet demand. Why is it 4 million? Because remember back in 2007, 2008, 2009, the crash, right? So builders stopped building, right? 12 years ago, builders stopped building.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they got their confidence back. So they started building back up again in 2015, 2016, 2017. And then we started supplying housing, but we were still short, but because the prices were going up so high, and bam, we got hit by COVID, right? So in 2020, when we got hit by COVID, what happened? We stopped building.
Went down. Yeah,
we stopped building again, right? So because we couldn't, the country was shut down, there was supply chain issues, we couldn't build, we couldn't even get lumber. Even if we did get lumber, a piece of plywood went from, I remember a 3/4 inch plywood went from, $40 up to $90, $100 per sheet. It was crazy, right? You've got the entire port of San Pedro, Long Beach, et cetera, wherever those containers are sitting, they're still sitting on the ports. We have major supply chain issues, et cetera. So until today, we're not able to build anything because we're not able to complete anything. I read something the other day that said that we have garage doors. These builders are building all of their homes, but they're not able to put garage doors on their home. So there's supply chain issues that is affecting building, right? So if we need 4 million properties on the market and we only have 1.26 million properties right now, what does that tell you?
There's a shortage. There's a long way to go. And you see the developers are selling off their land to their entitled properties because they're not going to build it right now.
Exactly. Because why don't they want to build it? Because not because they don't believe in the housing market. They just don't believe that the supply chain issues or the lack of supply right now is going to get any better anytime soon. All because obviously China's backlogged. What's going on in the Ukraine, Russia, euro versus dollar. Even though you guys might think that the dollar being stronger right now is good for us, it is not. That's one of the most horrible things that can happen to your economy by having a stronger dollar, right? Because what happens, Europe, the world doesn't come and buy from us. We buy from them, right? If we buy in Europe, great, but they don't buy from us because they're getting less for their money, right? So all these different things with what's going on with Russia, with what's going on with inflation, what's going on with shortage of supply, all these things is not allowing us to build, right? So again, anybody that tells you that we have too much inventory, repeat. Show them the data. Make sure that they understand that in order for us to meet demand, we need to have a supply of 4 million homes nationwide. Currently, we have 1.26 million homes. That's a 3-month supply. A 6-month supply is a healthy market. Remind them that in 2007, 2008, 2009, during the housing bubble, during the crash, the supply was right around 18 months. Right? There was 18 months of inventory. I remember at the highest point where there was a shit show, and property values obviously decreased by too much. One of the things that we keep missing out on is the need to hold. So even, let's say, for example, God forbid, Arthur, you lost your job, you have no more money to make, right? Or you don't have a job to make money. There is every single way, you're going to do every single way thing possible in order for you to keep your home. Number one, because you've got a ton of equity, like I put in my post here, we have a 30% increase in equity, right? And then not only that, but we got trillions of dollars more equity created, and the most equity that we've ever had in our housing, in our properties, right? So another reason to why people will fight tooth and nail to keep their properties. Not only that there's so many more resources right now to be able to keep your properties. What are those resources? Have you heard of a website called Airbnb, Arthur?
I have.
You have, right? So that website is going to help us not have to go through foreclosure. How is that website going to help us not go through foreclosure? If you cannot pay for your mortgage, you're going to rent out the bathroom, the bedroom, the garage. You're going to throw your mother-in-law out of your house, and you're going to rent that room out. You're going to do every single thing that you can in order for you to protect your equity. So by you doing that, that means there's going to be less supply on the market. The reason we had a crash is because in 2007, 2008, 2009, people couldn't give two shits about the property that they owned. Why? Because they had nothing in the property. There was no equity in the property. Why protect something
negative?
Why keep something that is negative, like you said, right? So again, the fact of the matter is that you've got 30%, 31% or 32% increase in equity in property values, obviously. Next thing, that is and this is something we've been talking about for a while now, and the numbers finally came out in our favor, and exactly what we were saying. 30%, and I repeat, 30% of buyers in June were first-time home buyers. That is nuts. And that's 27% from the high in May, right? 30% of your buyers were first-time home buyers. And we've been saying this for the last couple of years. Millennials and Gen Z guys, they're no longer the transient generation, right? If they're no longer the transient generation, what does that mean for us? It means that they're going to what? They're going to not move from area to area, city to city, exploring. They're going to settle down. Why? Because when they do settle down, and this is why we're so in need right now, people are very, very much used to working from home. They've changed their entire lifestyle. This is why if you look at companies that produce Sonos, like companies like Philips, right? Why are their stocks and value of their companies at all-time highs? Why is it that those Philips Hughes those bulbs are selling for $70, $80, $90 a pack? It's because everyone is investing a ton of money on their home because they're trying to automate their home because they're going to work from home. And if you're going to work from your home, you might as well purchase something that is worth coming to and living in and working from each and every single day, right? So now more than ever, right? You gotta make sure that you're the voice of reason. When somebody comes to you and says the property values are going to go down, that might be true. that might be true, right? Property values might adjust 3 to 5%. We've been saying that for a while now. They are going to adjust. It's not possible. What is going to happen is we're going to see things stabilize. Now, for those of you guys, and I was talking to a couple of guys at the Burbank office the other day, those of you guys who keep saying property values going, listing prices going down, you're seeing a down arrow a lot lately, right? So what happens there is the reason that we're seeing the down arrows lately is because, and you guys all know this, and you guys are victims of this, in these last few years, you've been pricing for tomorrow. You had the luxury of taking on a listing, right? And then pricing it for tomorrow. So what happened was you would take on a listing at 600 and you would sell it at 660. And even at 600, the value of the property was at least 3 to 5% over the appraised value, right? So now what you're seeing is things stabilizing, not too much demand, and there's panic. There's panic. As soon as a property goes on the market, because that's the mindset. You as a professional, you've been very much used to these last 10 years. As soon as you put the property on the market, in 7 days, boom, you're gonna get an offer. 10 days, you're gonna be in escrow, and in 30, you're closing escrow. Now you're limping in. Now we're stabilizing, right? And when we go to 6 months of inventory, we're gonna have one buyer for every one property. Oh my God, the madness, what a freak show. You only can have one buyer for one property. You can't have 3, 4, 10, 20 buyers that you're expecting. You only have one. So in these last few years, all of you guys have been complaining about the fact that you guys don't have listings. You guys cannot control the inventory. Your buyers are getting very upset with you, right? Because what? Because your offers keep getting rejected. You keep writing offers and you're not able to what? Get them accepted, get them into their dream homes, et cetera, et cetera. And now you're complaining about the fact that your buyers are not willing to purchase these homes and there's too much inventory. Now you no longer want listings. I heard it the other day from one of our top agents. He's like, I don't want listings, I just want buyers. What happened? Just a month and a half ago, you and I were talking about all you want is listings. You don't want to be buyers, you don't want to be a chauffeur. Now all of a sudden, you only want buyers, you don't want your listings. Do me a favor and make up your mind. Okay, you want buyers or do you want sellers? Both sides, you're able to make a very good living. As long as you understand that consistency is important and the message needs to be exactly where you know it to be right. Like I said in my post, and I'm going to say this over and over again, now more than ever, a professional is very much necessary. Now more than ever, a professional is required because the professional is going to be able to navigate through this market. A professional is going to be able to get you to understand that today is an opportunity. Because in a few months from now, when things settle back down, when people come back from traveling, the heat is whatever, you're going to see prices stabilize. And you're going to regret it because, again, the Fed is trying to take, just this morning, I think it was this morning or yesterday, finally, Europe stepped up. They raised their rates, trying to tame inflation, right? Only by 50 basis points because Europe doesn't have the strength to just shock the market, right? It's not as strong and stable as the US is. So they went ahead and only raised for the first time in 11 years, they raised their interest rate, their federal fund rate by 50 basis points. We've done it multiple times, 50, 75 basis points, and we are going to do it again and again and again until we see inflation and your CPI going back down in the 2s and 3s, right? So one thing that I will tell you is you got to keep connecting with your people over and over and over again and let them know that this is an opportunity that you don't want them to miss. If they're long-term, they're not going to get affected by any of this. The last thing that they want is in 6 months from today, just like 4 months ago, they regret that they didn't listen to your message. The problem right now is not everyone is willing to listen to you. So this is why your job is going to get a little tougher. You need to connect with more people, try to reach out to more people, make sure more people understand what the message is. So today, when you're hooking up for your open house and you're trying to put your open house on the board and getting ready for it, don't just go business as usual. Go all out. I keep saying this over and over again. Go all out. In order for you to do better, in order for you to stand out from a sea of sameness where everybody's is depressed, all the agents don't know what to do, et cetera, it's your opportunity to capitalize, build your team, get people to understand what the message is. The open houses that you're going to do, make sure that you send out the invitations to every single person. If you're going to do your expires, make sure you knock on 7 more doors. It's not going to hurt your posture if you walk a little bit more, right? Do all the things that are necessary in order for you, again, to stick out from a sea of sameness and able to uncover some more market share than you're used to. It is, again, an opportunity for you to do more than you're usually doing. So I definitely would take advantage of it. Arthur, any other questions you think that I should answer in my blog that I'm not addressing here, man?
I mean, I think you're doing a fairly good job there, Harout.
What about, is there anything else that you're hearing? Coco, Albert, all the guys who have been in this business, in this industry for a while, even the new guys, Christina, Nick, anybody. You guys?
I agree with you in regards to the first-time home buyers. It's a great opportunity for them to get into homes right now where they wouldn't have been competitive. So in specific markets, you can't write an offer with a 3.5% down. And now these guys are all backlogged. So you can definitely get them into homes now. Those properties are going to sell, especially at a certain price point.
You just gave me chills.
I was able to get 18,000 credit for request for repairs.
Dude,
I mean, it's as normal as it can get. I miss this these days.
Oh my God, I love you. I love both of you guys for saying that. I love the fact that, Arthur, you said you're going to be able to get those 3.5% down. Why do you want 25 offers on your listings? If you want 25, if it's a market where you get 25 offers on your listings, it's a market when you're representing a buyer, you have to compete against 24 other guys. It's crazy. Step up. Put a smile on your face. Go and do exactly what you're doing. This industry is exactly where we need it to be. Like Arthur just said, like Albert just said, this is exactly what we want. We want to have it easier. Now, I'll give you an example, okay? We, as you know, we have an acquisition department and we're buying like crazy right now. And if we're buying, why shouldn't your buyers be buying? But we're buying like crazy right now because everyone's hitting the panic button. Right, so we're getting, our call volume is a lot higher because people just want to sell and get out and get themselves out of the market. That's kind of where you are, right? Yesterday, we on our Welby listing, we're on escrow, and we got a repair request, and the buyer thought that we were like novices and we don't understand what the market is all about. We got a repair request. They're asking for the entire roof to be changed. Oh, okay. And they had the guts to ask for it because this market now is allowing for it, right? So for me, we're a little more experienced, and just to allow something like that, we're not going to cancel escrow. We'll just, if it doesn't sell, we'll just rent it, right? But this is the market where the buyer is now back into being kind of somewhat in control, right? Now your buyer doesn't have to remove all the contingencies. Now your buyer is more comfortable. Now it's a lot more stress-free transaction, right? But the thing is, you've got to reach out to more. You've got to have more of an abundance mindset when it comes to this market. Reach out. Keep connecting with people. Keep connecting with as many people as you can. So this way, ladies and gentlemen, in 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whatever that is, I don't give a shit how long this takes. You've been able to develop your business to be a lot stronger and more stable than it's ever been before. Don't lose out on this opportunity, please. All right.
Yeah.
Harout, can I add one thing? It's Robin.
Oh my God, we got a celebrity on the line.
Oh,
What's
stop.
up, Battles? Everybody,
Hi.
this is Robin Battles. We have the pleasure of having her on the call today. Hi, Robin. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing well. I hope everybody's
Good.
doing great.
Amazing.
Just if you could touch, I read your story last night. And I was like, that was really good. The one thing I think where I hear from agents is they're panicking on their listings because they're not prepping their sellers for this shift in the market. They're so focused on price. They're not focused on, You need to tell them what to expect from these buyers now. You have to tell them about inspections. You know, I'm big on pre-inspections because that sets the seller up for what they might hear from the buyer.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole different presentation and setup for these sellers. And if you're just all about, oh, we've been on the market for 10 days, we have to drop the price, stop it. You're the one that's creating the decline in prices.
I couldn't have said it any better. I'm so glad you said that, because, and this is why I said it at the end of that story, and I close off my blog that way as well, where I'm all about, you know, this market, because this market requires people that understand. Look, this last 3-4 years, sorry, but if you had a license, you understood how to take a test, and we've dealt with agents that just passed the test and now are all of a sudden started sounding like crazy. You didn't need much between the ears in order for you to be successful, because all you have to do is just put a property up on the MLS, and you deserve only that 0.5% or that 1% commission that you were charging. You just, you know, made yourself look good. And yes,
now you have to actually communicate with your client.
Yes.
And if you don't, they get super nervous and they're going to be calling you every single day.
Yeah. So
because you're letting them freak out and buy into the nonsense that's going on. Our market's not crashing.
Yeah. So Robin,
but the sellers, they Harout, but the sellers, they think they are sitting on a gold mine. They are not sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah. So here, let me address that real quick, because, like, you know, those agents that do this with their hair and do that with their hair and take photos of themselves. If you guys want me to repeat it like this is exactly what they do. Those agents are no longer going to be able to compete in this market, because they're not going to be able to understand and get these sellers to understand exactly what you just said, right, Robin? And I think Coco piggybacked off of what you're saying. It is our job to educate. If you don't want to have that conversation at the listing appointment, fine. Okay, I'm good. That's fine. If you don't have the confidence to have that conversation at the listing appointment, all right. But at the very least, have it during your walkthrough, during your photos, during this, during that, because, and it is exactly why I say, talk to them about pre-marketing, talk to them about pre-inspections, talk to them about all these kinds of things, because before you put the property on the market, you've got a boatload of work to do. So during your pre-marketing, you're going to, again, this is why I love the weekly updates to my sellers, right? I want my sellers to get those weekly updates. This is what I did this week, and this is what I'm getting. I was able to send out this property to all the agents of John Hart before the property hit the market, and this is a feedback that I got. So let's be prepared for this, right? And then this is, you know, I brought my inspector, and this is what he told me about the roof. So let's be prepared for this, right? So this way, it's not shocking them and not allowing them to get up to kind of have an understanding. And look, this is the best analogy I can make for this market. It's, you're not a helicopter, you're a plane, right? You're not going to take off this way, you're going to take off this way. You need a long runway in order for you to be able to make it in this market and be successful in this market. And like what Coco said, all sellers think they're sitting on a gold mine. But Coco, one point I will disagree on right now is that today, because of kind of what the media is doing, sellers are more understanding of exactly what this market is going to, or what they think it's going to do. But again, I repeat, we are going to go through a recession, might lead into a depression, 100%. I think it's already here.
Beginning of next year.
Yeah, well, I think we're already in it, but I will tell you.
No, I mean physically.
Yeah, but I will tell you guys, listen very carefully, and I mentioned this in my blog as well. Listen very carefully to this. Just because we're in a recession doesn't mean there's a housing recession. As a matter of fact, and don't quote me on this, but the last 6 or 7 recessions that we've gone through, only 2 of them we've seen a decrease in housing value. That's the thing that I want you guys to really understand. And I'll state this fact in my blog as well once I do a little bit more research. But definitely, just because it is a recession doesn't mean it's going to affect housing, not by any means. Robin, Albert, Arthur, Coco, and everybody else, I thank you very much for your time. I did go 5 minutes over, but I will definitely take your advice and add a couple of things that you guys mentioned. Appreciate your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Cheers.